Great, guys. So let's begin. For those of you who don't know me, who are guests of my one of my team members, well done, Amanda. You're the first person to switch her camera on. You might have done that by mistake, but I actually love the cameras on. I prefer to see people's faces, but I do understand that given the circumstances, a lot of agents would like to just remain incognito. Especially if you're checking out eXp and you're not wanting to be seen doing so. We understand that, no problem whatsoever. So yeah, my name is Steve Johnstone. I am a real estate trainer. I have been for 20 years or so, and I used to run a company called Providence Coaching Systems. And in fact, I was out of business for about 7 years. I was in the ministry, and when I got back into real estate training, that was about 7 years ago. I had a whole bunch of old clients from 20 odd years ago when I ran Providence saying to me, I used to be on your coaching program, or I did your Turning Point retreat, which was what my big event back in those days was called. And I was so blessed by how many people said to me, you know, I still work by referral today from the system that you taught me 20 years ago. I actually had quite a humorous, I'm glad I found it humorous actually, experience the other day. One of my team members, Rochelle, and some of her colleagues put on an event in the northern suburbs of Cape Town, and I went through and I spoke at the event. And there was quite a big crowd, and one of the ladies in the crowd came up to me afterwards and said, Stephen, I recognize you. I was saying to the person next to me, that's Steve Johnstone. I did his training 20 years ago. He hasn't changed. He's got a little fat, but he hasn't changed. She's telling me this. That's what she said to the person next to her. And maybe it's a sign of maturity, or maybe I've just given up the fight, but I actually found it really funny. I've got a little fat, but I'm still the same. Anyway, so there you have it. That's my background. I am married to Danielle. I've got 3 kids who are kind of getting to that point where they're leaving the house, and I live in Cape Town. So that's enough for me. Oh, and I'll tell you the story around eXp as we're going. But I got involved with eXp as they launched in South Africa, which was at the beginning of last year, and I'll talk a little bit about that. Okay, so I've shared my screen with you, and we're going to be going through some slides together today. My purpose for today is single-fold. I want to make sure that you understand eXp's model today. That's why I'm here. I've been asked to do this presentation by members of my team so that they could invite specially selected guests. And that's one, if you're here for the first time, you have been invited by one of my team members. I know a couple of you are guests of my own here today. And really what we're trying to do here is just make sure you understand what eXp's model is. And that's important because I think many of the team members who have joined eXp will have the same testimony that I have, that I was brought into eXp kicking and screaming. And when I say I was brought into eXp kicking and screaming, what I mean is I had promised myself I would never join a real estate company. I'd never become an estate agent or join a single real estate company. I made a great living as a real estate trainer and coach, and I had for many years. I was well known in the industry, and I think well respected for the training that I've done, and I had good relationships with all of the companies. And I knew that if I joined a single company, that would kind of put pay to my whole training and coaching career. So I said I would never do that. And I was in fact approached by some of South Africa's biggest companies that you would know about, who wanted me to join them and do training and coaching. And I always just said, no, I'm not interested in that. And so when I was approached about eXp, just before they launched into South Africa, I was approached by someone overseas just saying, you need to look at this company that's coming to South Africa. I pushed back quite hard and I said, look, I'm not interested. I will never join a real estate company. So We don't need to have this conversation. But this guy was really persistent. And as it turns out, I'm very glad he was. But he eventually came to South Africa from Canada. And he sent me a message saying, Stephen, listen, I have come all the way from Canada. I am at the President Hotel in Bantry Bay. All I want to do is meet with you and explain this model to you. And I mean, the guy had come all the way from Canada. So what was I supposed to do? So I went through to the President Hotel and I sat with him. And he actually just showed me a video. He didn't even explain it to me himself, which is quite a good way of doing it. And we've actually produced a video now that you can do that with. And he just played this video to me. And as I'm watching this video, I got to say, the unthinkable began to happen. I started actually listening harder and harder as this guy was explaining eXp's model. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, that is actually really interesting. And the more I watched it and the more homework I did afterwards, I began to realize this is the best opportunity I'll ever see in real estate. And I've actually got to take this opportunity. I did lots of homework, which is the next thing that I would suggest that you also do. Excuse me. When you get off this webinar today with me, if your attention is at least pricked by what you see, I would suggest you go and do a bunch of homework. We've put up a page on the internet. Actually, let me show it to you. I'm going to see if I can get this right. I'm going to just open this up on my own computer, and then I'm going to share this page with you. I'm going to drag it across. Okay, you should be seeing another website page. So this is the live page of the screenshot that was on my slides. If you are, okay, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this into the chat roll. If you're able to open the chat roll on the right-hand side, I've just put the link in. It's going to pop up on your screen. Click it. It'll open in another tab. It won't close down the Google meeting. It'll open in a second tab. You can then come back to the Google meeting on the tabs. Just leave the other tab open so you can go to it later. Okay, there it is. That's the link to this page. So what this page is, it's just a collection of a whole bunch of resources that we've put together over time that people have found helpful to do their homework into eXp. So if you come back to the Google Meeting tab, look at me sharing my screen. I'm just going to scroll down the page and just orientate you to some of the resources. So the top ones are a bunch of YouTube playlists, except for this one. This is a little video by Brent Gove on the share price or the value of eXp as a company versus its biggest competitors worldwide. Who is Brent Gove? He's one of the biggest eXp team leaders in the world. He's got 19,000 people, agents in his group. As you're going to see later today, you actually can't compute the amount of money he makes on his eXp team. 19,000 agents in about 20 different countries in his group. So what he has done is a couple of times a year, he has a very big conference. In fact, the Build conference for 2022, which I think I'm going to add to this page as well, was this last week. And the guest speaker was Tony Robbins at that event. They have 4,000 people at those events. And what I've done is I've linked the YouTube playlist of all the sessions. And each session is about 20 minutes. And it's a different eXp agent from somewhere in the world just telling their story. And that was very helpful to me when I was doing my homework, because the more stories you hear, the more people you listen to, the more you begin to realize, hang on a second, there are some very good people who have joined this business. And I relate to, that guy's story. You'll relate to that lady's story. So quite nice to get lost in those YouTube playlists. Then the next one down is a very famous talk by Gene Frederick. This one is, everyone around the world uses this video, and I do like it because Gene Frederick is, to this day, the top Keller Williams recruiter of all time. We've actually just had one of the top recruiters in Keller Williams South Africa join eXp. His name's Javi Rousseau, and that is busy making waves at the moment in the Keller Williams world of South Africa. They're very concerned about eXp, and rightly so, because a lot of Keller Williams team leaders worldwide are moving across to eXp. Why is that? You know, this is hopefully what I'm going to do for you today. You're going to see enough to start to ask yourself the question, my goodness, could there be something here for me? And a lot of people are answering that question, yes. There's a website of eXps you can go and look at that's agent focused. There's a commission comparison calculator that I put together. So how much will you earn compared with your current company by moving to eXp? That's a calculation which a lot of agents don't do, and they should do. So what I've done is I've created a little spreadsheet where you can plug your own numbers in there to see how much more you will earn on the splits and the capping system of eXp if you just come across to eXp just for the commission. If that's all you're interested in, you can go and do the calculations there. Then you want to check out the leadership of the company. This is Glenn Sanford. He's the founder of eXp, which was started in 2009. And then the CEO, this is one of the guys that impressed me most when I was doing my homework. His name is Jason Gessing. Go and watch that video. That's a little interview that Andrew Thompson, the head of eXp South Africa, did with Jason Gessing. Very, very impressive guy. The leadership of this business is quite reassuring when you listen to them. You think, okay, this business is in good hands. eXp's training, that's one of the points I'll make today, that we have the best training of any real estate company on the planet. And there are reasons for that. That's a little video on the training. And then there's this eXp training calendar that you can click the link there and it'll take you to eXp's calendar, and you can go and look for yourself at all of the training that we do every week, that eXp does globally, and you can see the kinds of sessions that are being run. Then eXp South Africa. Okay, what about South Africans? South Africa is different. I remember someone, a big Harcourts franchise owner, said to me, whom I'm friends with, and I like him. He's a good guy. But he said to me when I showed him this right in the beginning, he was one of the first people I approached, and these were his words to me: "This will never work in South Africa." I said to him, okay, Paul, well, let's see what happens. Well, here we are 18 months later, and eXp has just become the 10th biggest real estate company in the country by agent count. We've just passed 600 agents in South Africa. 600 agents in 18 months. Think about that. That's the fastest any real estate company has ever grown in South Africa. We're the fastest growing real estate company in South Africa's history, as we are the fastest growing real estate company in the history of the world. Nothing has ever even come close to how fast this company has grown. The other 9 companies in the top 10 in South Africa have all been in existence for over 50 years. That's a stat that I'm quoting from Michael Valdez, who's the chairman of eXp Global, the global expansion of eXp. They headhunted him from Sotheby's, the company that owns Sotheby's. And I thought that was a really interesting stat. Man, the other 9 have been around for 50 years. We've been around for 18 months, and we're in the top 10 already. My prediction is we will be the biggest real estate company in this country in the next 3 years. And we're on track for that. So already we've got a lot of great success stories from South African agents. So Andre and Lydia Forster, Andre and Lydia are both on the call. You can see Andre is making comments in the chat roll. This is a little interview that I did with Andre. There's an interview with one of the top Tyson agents, Brad Neal, who came across to eXp a few months ago. Ferdie Abrahams is the latest agent to cap in eXp. In fact, he's capped 2 years in a row now. Liz Nell, etc. Okay, so you can go through some South African stuff. If you're a Remax agent with us, well, what are Remax agents saying about eXp? One of the most famous Remax agents in the world was Ricky Kashruth. Ricky Kashruth runs a training program called Zero to Diamond, probably the most successful training program in real estate in the world. And in fact, it was Andre Foster who was following Ricky Kashruth all the years that he was doing training. And when Ricky Kashruth moved to eXp, Andre said, wow, he then started doing his homework. This was before eXp launched in South Africa. And then I screenshot videoed, I'm not sure if I was allowed to do this, but I did it, an interview that Ricky Kashruth did in eXp World on why he moved from Remax to eXp. And you can go and watch. This is like a 10-minute clip. Really interesting comments that he makes. Then there's a section on the revenue sharing program, which I will explain to you today. How good can the revenue sharing program be? How much money can you really make? There's some videos on it. And then the stock award system. How do you get given free shares in the company? I am going to talk about that today, but there's a little bit more detail in this video, which you can go and watch. This is just a duplicate of what I'm going to do today, the Model Explained presentation. There was a presentation I gave live in Cape Town. And then the Join app at the bottom. So if you want to get access to eXp's contract, which is what I would recommend you do, it's part of your due diligence. You don't want to sign something that you haven't read. You click this link, you fill in the form on that page, and then it just triggers an email from eXp's system that sends you the contract. And then if you want to meet with me, one of the things I'm going to recommend you do is you book an appointment after this, because you're going to have lots of questions. And that's fine, no problem. We're happy to go on the journey with you as you're doing your homework. You can book a 3-way call with me and the person that invited you to attend today by clicking this button. It takes you to my Calendly page. Calendly is a scheduling app. It books an appointment directly into my diary, and it sends all 3 of us the Google Meeting link. And then the 3 of us, I'm going to call them your sponsor. You'll understand that term later. Your sponsor, me, and you can then get together and just have a chat, and we can answer your questions. Okay, so that's what I recommend you do at the end of today. Go and do some homework and then book an appointment to answer your questions. Right, sorry, my phone is ringing. I'm going to switch it off. And I would suggest that you do this, Aim, so you can focus. Sorry about that. Okay, back to my slides. So do some homework. Should be able to scroll through my slides. Yep, and book an appointment. Right, the first thing you notice, if you're like most of us, when you see the eXp model, is that eXp, unlike every other real estate agency on the planet, and unlike the real estate training industry that I was in, eXp gives you a genuine exit plan, which means it gives you the ability to retire. Now, there's a couple of ways you can prepare for retirement. You can either save enough money and invest it wisely so that you can live off the interest and slowly eat into your capital so that you can live for another 20 years retired. So that's the one way. You set up an asset base that you can then live off. Now, eXp enables you to do that. The second way to do it is you can build up a passive income. So there are different ways of setting up a passive income in life. You can write a famous book, and people keep buying that book every year. You know, who was it that wrote all the Harry Potter? She lives off, you know, residual income, passive income, because people continue to buy those books. You know, there are people whose parents recorded a famous song in the 1970s, one-hit wonders. They had one song that went to the top 10, and their children today still live off the residual income because that song is played on the radio all over the world. Well, I'm not sure how you're doing on setting up a passive income for yourself, but eXp allows you to do that, to set up a passive income. Now, how does that work? Well, the first way, and this is on the asset-based side, eXp allows you to build up what can become a significant dollar-based investment in eXp's shares. eXp is listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange, and by working as an agent with eXp, you can get given and get access to discounted shares, which are the NASDAQ listed shares. I will explain that a little bit later. The second way, and this is now on the passive income side, so this is money that gets paid into your bank account. In eXp's case, on the 22nd of every month, we get paid our revenue share. eXp has a system whereby they will share the revenues of the company with all of the agents. This is a remarkable departure from the regular, normal, old-fashioned real estate model that every other company works with, where the company itself keeps the revenues of the business. Because eXp is an agent-owned business, they say, okay, we make a bunch of revenues every year. And what we're going to do is, instead of keeping the revenues for ourselves, we're going to pay all of the revenues of the company back to the agents. That's remarkable. And that becomes an enormous amount of money when you see why they are so profitable. And I'm going to get to that in a second. Okay, the other thing you're going to notice is that eXp gives you all the freedom of running your own business without all of the legal and administrative hassles of starting a real estate company in South Africa. And we've in fact had a number of business owners who had teams of agents themselves. Ferdie Abrahams, I see Ferdie is on the call today. Ferdie had a team of about 10 agents. He had his own company. When he saw the eXp model, he said, Stephen, are you telling me that what cost him at the time about 80,000 Rand a month, 60 to 80,000 Rand a month were his expenses? He said, are you telling me that I can move to eXp, I can close down the PDY Limited, I can close my trust account, I can kick the annual audit into touch, I can close my P24 membership and my private property memberships and my Lightstone memberships, and I can give up my lease of my bricks and mortar office. I don't need offices anymore, but I can still have my team, and we can just run it on eXp's digital platform, and my monthly expenses are going to come down to, and this is what it is, 800 Rand a month. I said to him, yes. He said, where do I sign? so Ferdie joined, and incidentally, Ferdie's team, so his 4 best agents came with him. The others kind of fell by the wayside. His team has grown in about 14 or 15 months from 4 agents to over 100 agents. So it's at around the 100 mark. Maybe Ferdie, you can tell us exactly how many people in your team now. Now you should be asking yourself the question, how on earth is that even possible? How do you kick the whole administrative and legal burden into touch and just join as an individual and yet go from 4 to 100 agents? How's that even possible? That's what happens with eXp's model. It is a phenomenal model, and it grows faster than anything on the planet. If you're an individual agent, maybe how this speaks to you is you hate the idea and you hate the experience currently of working for a company where someone is always looking over your shoulder, like that you're having to produce reports and key performance indicators and reviews of your performance, and you've got to answer to someone for how many listings you've got and how many phone calls you've made this weekend and how many doors you've knocked on and how many flyers you've put out in the neighborhood, and you're kind of answerable all the time, and you've got to be in the team meeting every Monday morning, and you've got to drive down to the office, and it's a waste of your time, and you've got office duties you've got to do, and maybe you're sick and tired of being treated like an employee, and you want to run your own business. You want to be an entrepreneur, but you don't want to own a real estate company, and you're not an NQF level 5, so you actually can't start a real estate company. Well, eXp allows you, even if you're an intern, to have all the freedom of running your own business, and yet you're using the most technologically advanced, most collaborative real estate culture and platform on the planet. Okay, so maybe that sounds pretty good to you. Well, that's what eXp offer. So here's the story. Glenn Sanford is a Canadian. He was a Keller Williams agent. He ran a $60 million Keller Williams team, but he was a bit of a techie genius kind of character. He's a kind of once in a lifetime, a bit of a Steve Jobs, who can see where the future is going. And in 2009, before that with Keller Williams, he was already running his Keller Williams team entirely in the cloud. So he had this vision. You don't need offices to run a real estate business. Now just put yourself in his shoes in 2009 or 2008 or whatever. There was no such thing as webinars. There was no Google Meeting. There was no Zoom. He just had this vision. You don't need bricks and mortar. We can do this thing in the cloud. So in 2009, after the global economic crisis, it was kind of a good moment. Everybody was pivoting. He said he's going to start a new business. He's going to call it eXp Realty, and they're not going to own any offices. Somehow, Glenn Sanford managed to buy a company called Verbella. Verbella have developed what you will now know as a metaverse. It is an avatar world which now, fast forward to 2022, has offices for every country that eXp operates in, which is 21 countries and counting. We've got 2 new countries opening soon now. The next country to open is Dubai, and then Chile are both opening soon. So every country that opens, and South Africa opened in January last year. So we've been around for just over 18 months. Every country has got its own campus within this avatar world. The campus has got auditoriums and classrooms and boardrooms and offices. And you can go into this world creating a little avatar for yourself, and you can navigate through this world. So if you fast forward the clock to today, after 13 years of existence, or 12 years, 13 years of existence, eXp now has 84,000 agents. 84,000 agents in just 13 years. And here's the point. They're operating 21 countries. They don't own one building. Now, that is the huge disruptor that eXp have brought to the table. One of the disruptors is they have this tech platform that can operate a global company without any offices. Now, if you think about, and I think COVID actually played into eXp's favor. In fact, that's one of the reasons it's growing so fast, because people all around the world have realized you don't need bricks and mortar. You can run a very solid business online if your technology is good enough. And that's exactly what eXp have done. That's what they've been doing for the last 13 years. Now, the power of that is this. If you were to add up all of the money that is spent on bricks and mortar in a traditional real estate model, like, I don't want to pick on anyone, but let's say Remax or Keller Williams. I mean, these are the well-known big global franchises. If you were to add up all of the money spent on bricks and mortar by Keller Williams, so add up global head offices, regional state offices, national franchise offices in countries like South Africa, and then all of the local, provincial offices, if there are such, and then local real estate market centers, as Keller Williams calls them. If you were to add up all of that bricks and mortar, the rental, the insurance, the staff requirements, the desks, the computers, the telephones, the internet, the coffee, the training facilities, if you were to just add it all up, it would be hundreds and hundreds of millions, probably billions of US dollars. Now, if you were to take all that money and just, like a big pile of cash, just sweep it off the table into a bucket, eXp says we don't need any of that stuff. 80% of that expense we don't incur. Now, what are we going to do with this big bucket of cash? Here's what eXp do with it. They give it to you. They distribute it back to the agents. That is an unbelievably exciting concept, because that's the revenue share side of things. That can become incredibly profitable for you. And in fact, I'm living proof of that. I make an enormous amount of money every month for doing very little now, because I get paid a percentage of the revenues of eXp because I've helped grow the company. So how do you get a bigger slice of that money that gets paid out every month? Well, you help grow the company, and I'm going to explain how that works later. So Glenn Sanford, a genius, and he's built something that no one in the real estate industry can compete with, in my view. I don't think any company can compete with them, and that's certainly what we're seeing around the country and around the world. Okay, so eXp have a local staff complement. I'm not going to go through all of them now, but they're an incredibly, it's a sleek team, in the sense of we've got 600 agents in the country. We're in the top 10, and yet we've only got, I think it's 11 or 12 full-time employees. And we can onboard someone within a single day. You want to join eXp, we can have you up and running within a day, have access to all of our technology. You can be loading your listings within a day. That should tell you how good the systems are with eXp and how slick their technology is. So the eXp team are incredible. They are on it. They are accessible. And it's led by Andrew Thompson. He is the broker of record, as eXp call him. We call him the principal of eXp. And then there's a bunch of other staff members that you will meet if you decide to join our team. Okay, what makes eXp what it is? Okay, I've talked a little bit about it as I've been waffling through the introduction, but there are 4 pillars that when taken together, this company stands above the rest of the industry worldwide. And it is this that has caused such disruption. Now, as I go through this, I want you to think about this term disruption, because this is not just another real estate company with different colors. Okay, we got orange and blue this time. That's not what's happening here. This is a complete disruption of the real estate industry. This is a bit like what Uber did to the taxi industry. It's a bit like what Airbnb did to the hotel industry. Think about those 2 companies. Airbnb are worth 4 times what Hilton Hotels is worth, if you look at their market cap. And yet, Airbnb do not own 1 building. All they are is a bit of clever technology. What a clever business. Same thing with Uber. Uber are the most valuable public transportation company in the world, taxi company, and yet they don't own 1 vehicle. All they are is just clever technology. This is what technology has done. It has created complete paradigm shifting approaches to old industries. This is what eXp have done in real estate. Okay, so let's go through these four pillars. The first one is a phenomenal technology platform. I've talked a little bit about that already, the avatar world and all of that, but I'll give you a little bit more detail on what that looks like in South Africa in a second. Number 2 is the best training of any real estate company in the world. No one can compete with eXp's training, and there's 2 reasons for that, which I will give you later. Thirdly is the stock awards. Okay, stock, what we in South Africa call shares in a company. eXp is listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange, which is the major technology stock exchange in America. And you will get given shares in eXp, US dollar-based shares for doing what you're already doing at your current company. And then you will also get given access to discounted shares that you can purchase with your commissions as you're doing deals. And I will show you how that works later. It's incredibly exciting. And then the last one is the revenue sharing system from agent attraction. This is a very simple concept. I'll explain to you how it works later, but the principle is very clear. eXp are saying, if you will help grow the company, we will share more and more of this bucket of cash with you. We will share the revenues of the company with you if you help build the company through attracting other agents. Very simple concept, very powerful concept. Okay, so let's go through these one by one. eXp's platform. What does it cost to be a member of eXp? So to join eXp costs 800 Rand. So there's an initial payment of, it's actually 1,600 Rand you pay when you join eXp. That's made up of an 800 Rand joining fee, and then you pay the first month's 800 Rand in advance. So that's 1,600 Rand. And then every month from that point onwards, you pay 800 Rand per month to be a member of eXp. Okay, that's the cost. So there is a cost to being a member of eXp, but it is not a lot when you compare it to the desk fees of companies like Remax and others. It is also not a lot when you compare it to the kind of 60 or 80,000 Rand a month that someone like Ferdie was paying to run his own real estate company. Because remember, when you join eXp, you're an independent contractor, you own your own business, you're just using their platform to do it. So 800 bucks a month is a steal, if you ask me. What split are you on when you join eXp? Okay, now listen carefully to me. You're on a 71-29 split. 71-29. Why do I say 71-29 when the screen here says 75-25? Well, because if you look at the bottom point on the screen here, you will see, in addition to the 25% you pay eXp South Africa on your deals, you also pay 4% to eXp International. So you add those 2 up, it comes to 29%. So let's just call it what it is. You're on a 71-29 split. So I don't know how that compares to the split that you're currently on. You can go to that commission comparison calculator on that follow-up resources page that I showed you earlier, and go and plug your own numbers in. Go and see what the comparison will be. The major thing to note here is that this 25% that you pay eXp South Africa has a cap. So you will only pay in, as you're paying in 25% of all of your deals. Every deal you do, you pay 25% eXp South Africa. That starts adding up. When that reaches 150,000 Rand that you've paid in, they cap you there and they say, that's enough. You've paid us enough for the year. We don't want you to pay us any more for the year. You keep the rest. That sounds pretty cool. That's called the capping system. All you pay after that is just the 4% to eXp International. So let me say that in a simple way. You're on a 71-29 split with eXp until you cap. When you've paid in 150 or you've done 600,000 Rand gross commission, 600,000 gross commission, 25% of that is 150. You've paid in 150, you keep 450 of that 600. From that point onwards, you keep 96% of your commission. So then you're on a 96-4 split, which sounds pretty good to me. So Ferdie actually is the latest agent in eXp to cap. How many months are you into your calendar year, Ferdie? Just put that in the chat roll. I think it's like 3 or 4 months that Ferdie is into his calendar, not his calendar, his anniversary year, because they start your counter on the 1st of the month when you join the following month. So your year always runs, so for him it's like, let's say it's the 1st of May to the end of April every year. They start counting, and then when you cap for the rest of that 12 months, you keep 96%. So I think for Ferdie, he's capped about 4 months into his year. So for the rest of the 8 months of this year, he's going to keep 96% of his commission, which is pretty cool. Okay, that's the capping system. Nothing more there. You get access, obviously, for your 800 Rand a month, you get access to all of eXp's tools. You get access to the listing system. Our listing system is called REP. REP stands for the real estate platform. So we have our own listing system that we use. It's a brilliant listing system. You load your listings on there, very easy to use. They syndicate from there, which means they feed from there to P24 and to private property. Okay, so if you're a small business owner, you're immediately asking the question, how much do you pay for the P24 membership and for the clicks and the leads? Because at the moment, if you're a small business owner and you're paying P24, you pay like a monthly fee, let's say 1,000 or 2,000 Rand a month, but then you also pay for every click, for every lead you get, you pay extra. So what do we pay? Okay, this is all included in your 800 Rand. Unlimited clicks, unlimited leads. That is pretty cool. It also includes the same deal with private property, unlimited clicks, unlimited leads. You also get a Lightstone membership for your valuation research that you do using Lightstone. The only thing you don't get on eXp's membership is something to get property owners' details. And I know there's a bunch of my own team members that have kind of got together in little groups and they share a virtual agent membership. Virtual agent, you can get property owners' details. So I'm going to have a sip of water. Maybe you can tell us in the chat roll, what do you use to get property owners' details? Sorry, I was feeling a little parched. So I know of two systems, Virtual Agent, and there's another one called CMA. Actually, when you join eXp, yeah, so Andre uses the Virtual Agent. When you join eXp, you can actually choose between Lightstone and CMA. You can choose which one you get with your membership. But the CMA does not include the property owner's details. You've got to pay for that extra. Okay, what else can I tell you? You also get, obviously, your listings go onto eXp South Africa's website, and you get an agent profile page on eXp's website so that you can send that almost like a digital business card or a one-page website. That's a screenshot of our listing system. You also get syndication to, I think it's 21 international websites. eXp is a very international company, obviously, and we have a very robust international flavor to our business. So all of your listings also get syndicated to 21 or 24 or something international websites, and we can give you a list of all of those if you want them. Nothing more that I really want to say on the listing system. We have access to another little piece of tech called Workplace. Workplace is a Facebook app. It's owned by Facebook. It is essentially Facebook, but for a closed community. So companies have an internal workplace profile. eXp has the largest workplace profile in the world of any company. We've got 84,000 people who are on it. Work Chat is the Facebook Messenger version of Workplace. This is very powerful because what you can do, in fact, I was speaking to an agent yesterday who's got a 60 million rand listing in, I think it's in Hermanus in the Western Cape. And she says more than likely that will be an international buyer who buys that property. So I was showing her how Workplace works. You can log in there, you can create groups of your own. So you can create, say, a group called South African Coastal International Investment Opportunities. Create a group. You can then invite, using Work Chat, direct message to the phones of, let's say, the top 1,000 agents in eXp worldwide. You can do your homework, find out who the top agents are representing investors, scan around Workplace, and start adding that link and inviting people to join this group. Start networking, start reaching out to agents, and you can access all 84,000 agents globally through Workplace. And she was incredibly excited. She's going to start reaching out to people internationally. I've used this as well for getting support on my agent attraction things. Okay, branding. How does the branding work? So we're still on pillar number 1. Don't just kind of lose track. I'm just giving you some insight as to what it's like to be an agent working on this platform. Okay, there's a whole bunch of templates available for you when you join eXp, which you can download, of course. All the artwork is available for boards and business cards and signage and vehicle magnets and all of that stuff. There's the gray and black options. There's also the blue and orange options, which I like to create stuff. What I want to talk about, however, is the flexibility of the branding that eXp offers, the options. When you join eXp, you've essentially got 2 options. You can either just brand yourself as an eXp agent, which is making more and more sense as eXp is becoming. I mean, we're just in the top 10 in the country now. And even in the public eye, they are going to start, and already are starting to see in some areas, the eXp boards and branding. We, over the next few years, are going to become the most publicly recognized brand in real estate in South Africa. So why not benefit from that? Brand yourself as an eXp agent. However, it is possible that you have an existing brand, like Ferdie did, Prosperity Real Estate was his brand, that you don't want to lose, or you've always wanted to start your own brand, and you'd love to have, say, Steve Johnstone Properties. Can you do that? Yes, you can, and you can do it without needing to have a company or to register with the PPRA and have a trust account and be a principal and NQFI. It's just a marketing face that you wear, but you can brand yourself as, like Andre and Lydia Forster are Team Lydia and Andre. And you just have to be powered by eXp, which is also good because you're benefiting from the eXp brand. So Zilmarie Properties, powered by eXp, or Inch Properties, that's Lynn Inch. She's on the West Coast in Cape Town. Powered by eXp. You see Kyle Whistle did this. Kyle Whistle, if you don't know him, he was voted a couple of years ago as the top estate agent in the world using video. He's in Chicago. He made some waves in the States a couple of years ago when he moved his whole team across to eXp. They've chosen to keep their brand, though. So they are still the Whistle Realty Group. And they in America, they use brokered by eXp Realty. So maybe that's something you want to do. You want to brand yourself with your own brand and just be powered by eXp. But you know the power of that. Hello, Javi. Nice to have you. I was talking about you earlier. I was telling everyone how excited we are that you've joined the team. So Javi is also, by the way, He's also been employed with eXp as the growth specialist, kind of growth champion with eXp South Africa. So he is available to do training, and he is going to be doing training on agent attraction. So if that's something that interests you, Javi is there to teach you how to do it, because he's one of the best in the country at it. So he's a great resource. Javi, we very much appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. And we're very happy that you've joined us. Okay, so that's the Whistle Realty Group. Yep. Okay, next one. So that's pillar number 1, gone. Pillar number 2 is the training. I said to you that eXp provides the best training of any real estate company on the planet. Now, why is that? Because that's quite a big claim. I mean, you know, the best in the world. Why is that? Okay, 2 reasons. eXp has a standalone department called eXpU, like eXp University, which puts together a whole training curriculum for the whole globe months in advance. And you can click a link. This link is on that follow-up resources page that I showed you earlier, the eXp training calendar. You can click that link and go and look at their training calendar and see what is available every day, months in advance. And as you go and scroll through that, you're going to see, man, 90% of this is relevant for South Africa. It's stuff like social media marketing, how to work with buyers, better negotiation skills, how to work by referral, all the stuff that we use in our own market. And the training is done in auditoriums like this. So this is just a screenshot of one of the auditoriums in the Avatar world. And this is the reason why eXp can put on so much training. Sorry, I said to you there's 2 reasons why it's better than anything else in the world. Reason number 1 is because there is so much training. I remember being invited into Keller Williams Market Center a couple of years ago because they were asking me to do training for them. It was when the Keller Williams in Somerset West was launched. And I was invited in there by the team leader, and she walked me through. It was beautiful. Gee, I've got to admit, I mean, this was a really plush office space. It was huge in Waterstone Village, if you know Somerset West there. I thought to myself at the time, I was thinking, this must cost hundreds of thousands of rands a month in rent. And she walked me through with all the beautiful desks with the black and red trimming, and it was really cool. And at the back there was this this training facility that was kind of had glass doors with beautiful high-tech screens. And this lady said to me at the time, she said, that's our dedicated training facility in this market center. We're going to be doing at least 2 training sessions every single day. And at the time, I thought to myself, I mean, that's quite an undertaking, because if you've run a small business, you know, providing relevant, exciting training on a regular basis is difficult. Like, to do something once a week is a lot. Like, who do you find to do the training? How do you pay them? You got to have a curriculum. You got to have good content. It's got to be engaging. You got to get everyone together. So they got to travel to the offices, and so it goes on. And they said they're doing 2 a day. So how many training sessions are there in eXp world every day? Because they are an avatar world, and because there are 21 campuses around for every country where eXp operates, and each campus has got multiple training facilities and auditoriums and classrooms and boardrooms. How many training courses are there every day? There are between 40, sometimes 60 training sessions a day happening in eXp world. Now you just think about that, like 40 training sessions a day that you can go on to, and you can just pick and choose. So, oh, that one looks good. I'm going to go and do that one. Where is that? Oh, that's in the Australian auditorium. Okay, cool. Add that to my calendar. Right after that, oh, there's one in the Icon Auditorium in America. That's on like social media marketing. Oh, that one looks awesome. I'm going to go and do that. You can literally go from Australia to London to Hong Kong to South Africa, bouncing around training sessions, sitting in front of your computer. And when you're in these auditoriums, it's highly interactive. You can speak to the person next to you. You can walk up to the presenter afterwards. You can introduce yourself. You can ask questions. You can chat to them. You can build connections. You can keep in touch with people afterwards. You can start building relationships internationally. I mean, it is a phenomenal, mind-blowing experience, this avatar world. Okay, that's the first reason. There is so much training. The second reason eXp's training is so good is who it's done by. Who is conducting the training? That's an important question. Okay, so half the training sessions that take place in eXp world are done by icon agents. The agents themselves are doing the training. Who are the icon agents? These are the top agents in eXp worldwide. So the Icon Award is the very top award you can get at eXp as an agent. What have you got to do? In South Africa, you got to do 5 million Rand gross commission in a year. So do you do that? I mean, that's a pretty successful agent if they're doing 5 million Rand a year. And with eXp, they have an incentive scheme. If you become an Icon agent, you get given your cap back in eXp shares. Now just think about that. In South Africa, that means you've done 5 million Rand gross commission, you've just become an Icon agent. Woohoo! Now what do? They take the 150,000 Rand that you, as an Icon agent, you would have probably kept in your first month or two. So you've paid in your 150. They take that 150 that you've paid in, and they now give it back to you. So they give you 150,000 Rands worth of eXp shares. So they convert it to dollars and they give it to you, and it now goes into your Morgan Stanley account, which they set up for each of us. But there's a catch. In order to get your 150,000 Rands worth of shares, you have to do a certain number of hours training in eXp World. In fact, I think it's 6 sessions you've got to do, 6 training sessions. So now there are lots of Icon agents all around the world now. So you go into the training calendar and you're going to see Icon series, Icon series, Icon series, Icon series. You know, how to negotiate with tough sellers, how to price counsel in a tough market, social media marketing, negotiations, whatever. And it's being done by an Icon agent. Here's the point. These are people who are currently crushing it in real estate, teaching you how to do what they are currently doing. Just think about that. That never happens in any other real estate company. You never get the top agents in the world training you how to do what they're currently doing. It's a phenomenal business. One of the things you're going to learn as you get into eXp, this is the most collaborative business in the world. It's the most collaborative real estate culture on the planet. I often have agents tell me, before I joined eXp, I loved the whole idea. I was so excited about it. But the one thing I was scared of was that I was going to be isolated because there's no office to go into. It's a cloud-based business. Now that I've joined eXp, I can tell you, and there are a number of agents that have said this to me, that this has turned out to be the most collaborative, the most cooperative, the most family-orientated company I've ever worked for. I really genuinely feel for the first time in my real estate career that I'm part of a family. I'm part of a community. And don't take my word for it. If there are other eXp agents on the call, don't you want to put a comment in the chat roll about that? Just tell us what your experience of working in a virtual world has been and how you still feel connected and you've made friends and that you are collaborating with other agents. Okay, so that's the training. The third pillar of the 4 pillars, I'm going to get distracted. I don't want to read the chat roll, but I'm going to let everybody else answer it. Is the equity awards or the stock awards. Okay, so how do you get given shares in eXp? This is very exciting because if you take advantage of these systems, of these incentives, you can build up an enormous amount in Rand value of eXp shares over the next few years. Okay, so how does it work? eXp listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange a few years ago. I think it was 2018 that they listed. That's the board of directors on the day that eXp launched. And quite a fun photograph. You know, at the end of the trading day, when there's a new listing on the NASDAQ stock exchange, they give the chairman of the company or chairwoman of the company, they give that person the right to shut down the market for the day. So there's old Glenn Sanford shutting down the world financial markets at the end of the day. And there's ticker tape and lights flashing. It's quite a cool moment. Okay, so listed on the NASDAQ, how do we get given shares, or how do we get access to shares in eXp? Okay, two ways. These two gray blocks here. Right, the top one that you're going to see here, this is called the Agent Equity Awards. Now, those are, those are summarized on the left-hand side here, the Agent Equity Awards. These are shares that you get given in eXp. Okay? Given, mahala, free. Now, all the shares that you get given, they take 3 years to vest. Okay, what is vesting? I had to look it up as well. Vesting simply means it takes some time before you actually take legal ownership of the shares. There's a waiting period. In the case of eXp, there's a 3-year waiting period before you take ownership. If you leave the company in that 3-year period, you forfeit the shares, you lose them. Okay, so why do eXp do that? It's a retention tool. And you know what? Fair enough. They're giving you the shares for free. And it's a very effective retention tool. It works. eXp has a very low attrition rate compared to other companies. I'm assuming that is true. It's certainly been true in my own business in South Africa. We have a very high retention and a very high score when it comes to how good it is to work for the company. In fact, they just released this the other day. Think about this, guys. eXp was voted globally by Glassdoor. This is this company that does this, this rating. They were voted the 4th best company in the world to work for. Now, that's not the fourth best real estate company. We were the #1 real estate company in the world to work for. That's the 4th best company in the world to work for. Better than Netflix, better than Google, better than, I can't remember who the top 3 were. We're #4. So are the agents who come to eXp happy? Yes, they're happy. Okay, this is one of the reasons. How do you get given shares? Okay, on the left-hand side here, the first way you get given shares is by doing your first deal every calendar year. So in January or February, when you do your first deal every year, they give you 2,000 rands worth of eXp shares. They just say, hey, congrats for your first deal for the year. Have 2,000 rands worth of shares. They translate that into dollars. They purchase the shares for you, and then they get put into an account, a trading account that gets opened for you, and that's administered by Morgan Stanley. That's a big bank in America. You can log into your Morgan Stanley account using ShareWorks. It's the little dashboard, the name of the software. So you log into ShareWorks and you can see your portfolio. You can see the current market value every day, what the value of your portfolio is. It's quite fun. Okay, the second way you get given shares is if you cap. So how do you cap? Let me remind you. Every deal you do, you pay in 25% to eXp South Africa. That starts adding up. When you've done 600,000 Rand gross commission, you would have paid in 150,000 Rand by then, 150. When you've paid in your 150, you cap. For the rest of that 12 months, you keep 96% of your commission. Okay, so when you cap, eXp will give you 4,000 Rands worth of shares just as a congratulations for capping. So Ferdie, in the last few days, would have been given 4,000 Rands worth of shares. They actually get credited to your account the following month. So he'll see them in his ShareWorks account next month. Okay, the next way you get given shares is if you sponsor another agent into eXp. So now don't get confused. The word sponsor does not mean you pay for them. It's just a technical term meaning you introduce them to eXp. I'm going to get onto this later, but the eXp system works like this. No one can join eXp globally. No agent can join eXp without being sponsored or introduced by an existing eXp agent. Okay, so when you fill in your eXp contract, you have to put the name of the agent who is introducing you to the company. And then forever going forward, you are linked to that person in eXp system. They know that that person introduced you. And as you're going to see later, that person gets given shares when you do your first deal, 4,000 rands worth of shares when you do your first deal, and they also earn a very small percentage of all of your gross commissions, paid from eXp's portion, not from your portion. Okay, so that's the sponsorship. Now, when you sponsor other agents into eXp, when they do their first deal, this is a once-off award, you get given 4,000 rands worth of shares in eXp. And I've personally sponsored close to 70 people into eXp. And I remember after my first 6 months at eXp, I went into my ShareWorks account just to check out, hey, let's see how many shares I've got. And my eyes almost popped out my head. I had 150,000 rands worth of shares in eXp in US dollars that I'd been given. I mean, does your company do that for you? Have they given you shares in the company? Tradable shares that you can sell on the open market? Yeah, I mean, quite phenomenal. Okay, so that's the shares you get given. The other way that you can get given shares, I'm not going to go into the detail on this, I did mention it earlier, is the Icon Award. If you become an Icon agent, you get given 150,000 rands worth of shares. Okay, back to this slide. The second way, this one here. I'm trying to get my mouse to go big. If you move it fast enough, it goes big. On the bottom of that gray block, this is the second way you get access to shares. Now, this is how you can get access to discounted shares. These shares you do purchase, but you own them immediately. They don't take any time to vest. You purchase them at a discount and you own them. In fact, you can actually sell them the same day if you want to, and you can make a profit on the discount you got given. But I think you'd be foolish to do that. I think you should forget about those shares. I think you should just let them build up in the background. So how does this work? This is called the Agent Equity Program. And what eXp will do if you elect to participate. So when you fill in your contract, when you join eXp, you're going to write your sponsor's name in there. And then one of the other things you've got to fill in is, do you want to participate in the Agent Equity Program? I'm going to suggest to you, I want to plead with you, yes, please tick that block. It's good for you. It's good for your family. It's good for your future. Okay, so what are they going to do? eXp will withhold 5% of your commissions. So when they pay you out your commissions after they've taken their splits, 71%, let's say, before you cap, they're going to withhold 5% of that. And they're not keeping it for themselves. It's your money. They're just redirecting it. They are then going to purchase eXp shares for you with that 5% and add them to your Morgan Stanley account. But they're going to purchase those shares for you at a 10% discount of what the share price was. It's either at the end of that day or at the end of that month. I can't remember exactly how it is, but it's a 10% discount on the trading value of the share. Okay, now I want you to do a little calculation in your head. If you were to work as an agent for the next 10 years, let's say you're going to take a 10-year exit plan, you want to retire in 10 years' time, which is not a long time, by the way, to build up an asset that you can live off. Do the calculation. If you were to work as an agent for the next 10 years, what do you think your gross commission will be over 10 years? Now, take 5% of that and you invest it in the eXp shares at a 10% discount. Now, also bear in mind, this is a dollar-based investment. So you're also going to benefit from the weakening of the rand over the next 10 years because it's sitting in dollars. How much would that be? Go and do the calculation, sitting in eXp shares over the next 10 years, at the end of 10 years' time, and what will the share price be in 10 years' time? eXp are expanding faster than any real estate company in history. Their goal in 10 years' time, I've heard this spoken of by the eXp executives, is to be in 100 countries and to have 1 million agents. Okay, we're already, after 13 years, growing so fast, we're in 21 countries and we have 84,000 agents. When I joined, by the way, which was 2 years ago, less than 2 years, started 18 months ago, we had about 30,000 agents worldwide. In just the 2 years that I've been with eXp, they've gone from 30,000 to 84,000. That's how fast We're accelerating. So what will the share price be? And in that time, in the last 3 years or so, the share price has gone from about $2 to, I think it's about $12 now. And that's after a share split. So it's the equivalent of $24. 2 to 24. That's a 12 times increase in the share price over the last, let's say, 5 years. Over the next 10 years, what is the share price going to do? I can't tell you what it's going to do. I don't have a crystal ball. The point is, guys, if you go and do this calculation, you are going to be sitting on potentially millions of rands worth of eXp shares. That's why I say, don't sell the shares. Just let them take that bit of your commission. You know what we like. If it lands in your account, you spend it. If it doesn't land in your account, you forget it even exists. Just forget it exists. Let it build up there. And you are building up a nest egg for yourself to be able to retire. Again, I would ask you guys, does your current company have a scheme like this for you to build up a big asset at the end of your time as an estate agent? Guys, you're seeing now why this company is growing so fast, because agents are looking at this. If you just stop long enough to take an intelligent look, which is what you are doing today, so congratulations. This thing makes too much sense. This is why this company is growing so fast. Okay, right, the last one, and then we will finish with this, is the revenue sharing system. Okay, now just get the principle of what eXp are doing. They have said, okay, there's this massive bucket of cash because we don't have bricks and mortar or any of the expenses that are associated with bricks and mortar. And our staff complement in every country we go to is so small compared to the staff complement of other traditional real estate companies. I mean, think about this. eXp have got 600 agents, as Harvey said, 600 yesterday. 600 agents. We're in the top 10 in the country, and we've got something like 11 employees. Because our systems are so good. Our technology is so good. It is so efficient. You compare that to one of the big companies in this country. They've got hundreds of employees. I mean, as I speak through this thing, this company blows my mind. What it has done in real estate, completely smashed the paradigm of real estate. Anyway, get back to the point I was making, sorry, is you take this massive pile of cash that's available, and what eXp says, they don't want to keep it. This is an agent-owned, agent-centric business. They want the agents to have that money. So what they do is they say, we are going to put together a scheme that incentivizes agents to attract other agents to the company. If you're willing to show people this model, which is why someone invited you to come and have a look at this today, because they think this model is better than anything else on the planet. Have a look with us. You invite people to look at this model, they join, they choose you as their sponsor. eXp are now going to pay you part of the revenues of that person as they begin working as an agent. Okay, so how does it work? If you introduce someone to eXp, you become what is technically called their sponsor, okay? They take their place on your first tier. So you are the person in orange. You are going to invite, let's say, Mary. You're going to invite a friend of yours, Mary, to have a look at this. How can you do that? Because you can't explain what I've explained today. You've just seen this once. It's a big mess in your head. No problem. What you're going to do is, you have one of two options, actually. Take them to a website called, maybe somebody can put this in the chat roll, themodelexplained.co.za. Themodelexplained.co.za. Simple to remember. Take them to that website. On that website, there is a 29-minute version, a short, succinct version of the presentation I've given you today. It explains the model in a kind of brief way. Watch that 29-minute video with them. That's option number one. But perhaps even better, thanks, Harvey, even better is invite them to this same meeting next Friday. Next Friday being the 9th of September. the next 2 Fridays. In fact, I'm doing the same meeting, the 9th and the 16th of September. It's the same link that you clicked today. It's the same link because I've just set it up as a recurring meeting for the next 2 weeks as well. So invite them with you next week. And I'm going to be giving the same presentation. Okay, so you sponsor Mary. She looks at this and she says to you, are you joining? You say, yeah, I think I'm going to join. She says, great, I'm coming with you. Now, eXp will begin to pay you. The number is 3.5%. I'll be going to pay you a small percentage of Mary's transactions, 3.5%, up until the point each year that she caps. Once she caps, you don't get paid anymore. Why not? Because eXp don't get paid anymore either. And our revenue share gets paid from eXp's portion, not from Mary's portion. She keeps 71% of her commission. When she caps, she now keeps, other than the 4% to international, she keeps it all. So we don't get paid our revenue share. That's why it says here up to 21,000 Rand a year. You get paid on a monthly basis as she's doing deals. That adds up over time to 21,000 Rand when she caps. Then for the rest of that year, you don't earn anything. I hope I explained that okay. Now, what if you were to sponsor 10 people? You've got 10 friends in real estate. You invite them all to have a look. They say, cool, this looks great. We're joining you. Well, you would earn 10 times up to 21,000 Rand per year because of the 10 people on your first tier. Okay, but then what happens if Mary here, Mary says, I've got a friend named Joseph. Can I also show Joseph and sponsor him? Absolutely, Mary, of course you can. So tier 1 agents, here's Mary, she goes ahead and tells Joseph. Joseph joins eXp. Mary is his sponsor, but Joseph now sits on what we call your tier 2. He's 1 level down. eXp will pay you 4%. They actually pay you more on your second tier agents than they do on your first tier agents. Very clever system because they are incentivizing us to help the people that we sponsor to sponsor people. It drives growth within the business. So you will earn up to 24,000 Rand on each agent on your second tier. Okay, so here's one of the powers of this. You will always, over time, have more people on your second tier than on your first tier because it's the exponential growth, eXp Realty, exponential. So, I mean, if you look on the numbers on my screen behind me, you probably can't see them. The typical multiple that we see over a period of time is between 4 and 5. So for every 1 person on your first tier, you'll end up with 4 people on your second tier. I've only been in 18 months. My numbers are, I've got 68 people on my first tier, a whole bunch that have joined in the last month, actually. And I've already got 146 on my second tier. So 68 have turned into 146 on my second tier. And these are the people that I didn't invite to join, but I earn 4% on all of their transactions. Now, this is not about me, and I don't like talking about myself, actually. I'm just illustrating for you the potential of what you could do with this if you got a vision for just introducing this model to some of the people that you know. Invite them to come next week. Now, eXp will actually pay you a percentage of the transactions all the way down through to 7 tiers. So it's up to 21,000 on your first tier, that's 3.5%, up to 24% on your second tier, then it's 15 on your third, 9 on your fourth, 6 on your fifth, 15 on your sixth, and 30,000 Rand per agent on your 7th tier. That's 5%. 7th tier is actually your most profitable tier. Okay, guys, there's just probably 1 minute left of the detail here. I do need to explain something else. If this is getting a bit foggy for you, we can explain this to you personally afterwards. Okay, so don't worry about it if this is a bit foggy. Just get the principle here. eXp are saying we are willing to share the revenues of the company with agents who help grow the company. That's the principle here, and it's a good principle. Okay. You do not earn from your second tier down automatically. you have to unlock your earnings on these tiers. So you might already have someone on your third tier, for example, but you don't automatically earn your revenue share until you have personally sponsored X number of active agents on your first tier. Okay, so you've sponsored Mary. That's one person on your first tier. She's an active agent. She's selling houses. She sponsors someone, Joseph. You're not going to earn your income on Joseph until you've got 5 active agents on your first tier. So you've got Mary, you need to add 4 more. Then you will unlock your earnings on your second tier. Then to unlock your third tier, you need to add another 5 on your first tier. So now you've got 10 on your first tier. Then you unlock your third tier. And so it goes down. 15 for your fourth, 20 for your fifth, 25 for your sixth. And to unlock your 7th tier, you need 40 active agents personally involved. Okay. If that doesn't make sense, again, book an appointment with the person who invited you here today. Let's just talk. We can show you how it works. Okay. So I do see Johan's comment here. People I speak to often say this is a pyramid scheme and they are scared of joining because they've burnt their fingers previously. How do you address this? I think that's a very important question, and I think it's a good comment, Johan. So let me address that. When people say a pyramid scheme, they don't actually mean, what they have in their mind is not a strict pyramid scheme. Okay, we need to see this thing in 3 categories. On the far left-hand side, we're talking about illegitimate, actual pyramid schemes. And a pyramid scheme is illegal. It's otherwise called a Ponzi scheme. This is what Bernie Madoff did. A pyramid scheme works like this. The person at the top gets paid the money that people pay to join at the bottom. So there's a joining fee, and that joining fee gets paid to the person at the top. There's no product or service that's actually being rendered here to generate income within the system. It's just a joining fee. Remember when I was at school, I almost got sucked into one of these. It was called the airplane game. So there was the captain of the airplane, 2 co-pilots, and 4 passengers. So each person had to bring 2 people in with them. So you brought 2 people, they brought 500 Rand cold cash in their pockets. I remember it was 500 bucks. So you got 4 people joining at the bottom, 2 brought in by this co-pilot, 2 brought in by that co-pilot, and then the main pilot at the top got given the 2,000 Rand, and he then left. Then the thing splits, the co-pilot becomes the pilot, and then these 2 guys each have to get their own 2 guys. There was no product or service, it's just a joining fee. Okay, that's a pyramid. It's illegal. I think we can safely say eXp is not a pyramid. eXp is a legitimate real estate company. In fact, it is the most valuable real estate company on the planet in terms of market cap. It's listed on the NASDAQ stock exchange. If you understand how the Securities Commission works in America, there are incredible due diligences and reports and audits and stuff that happens to these companies that are listed on the stock exchanges in America. This is not a pyramid scheme, okay? And one of the reasons it's not a pyramid scheme is, where's the money coming from? It's coming from the sale of houses. It's coming from agents working as estate agents. We don't get paid the joining fees. That's to get you onboarded and give you access to the technology. The money that's getting paid every month is a percentage of the commissions being earned by estate agents who are working as estate agents. Okay, now think about the traditional model of real estate. How does the local Pam Golding franchise owner make his or her money? They recruit agents, and then they take a split of those agents' commissions, typically 50% or 40%, if you're lucky, maybe 30%, and on some deals you get 20% some places. But let's say they get 40% of all of their agents' transactions. What do they do with that 40%? They keep it. They keep it because they have to, because their model is so expensive, and then they still want to kind of get rich themselves. They keep the 40%. eXp are doing nothing different. They take a split, in their case 25%, or percentage, they say 29%, they take up to a cap of 150 a year. They've got this money. Now, what do they do with it? They say, okay, well, we're going to use a multi-level system to actually pay out this money back to the agents. They're not doing anything different to what conventional real estate doing in taking splits from agents. All they're doing is they're paying the money back to the agents to helping grow the company. You know, I think what people mean when they say this is a pyramid scheme, I think this is what they're thinking. I was shown Amway once, and I looked into it, and you know, the toothpaste was like 3 times the price of what you can buy Colgate for in Pick and Pay, and the washing powder was like twice the price of Omo, and I was meant to buy all this stuff that was made in America, and it was so expensive, and actually we all just pretended that it was all so good, and it was like, but actually behind the scenes, the only reason we bought it was because we wanted other people to buy it. We wanted this whole scheme to work. That's what I think people are thinking of, where the product itself is not worth the money you're spending for. That's legal, but in my view, it's morally suspect. eXp is completely different. The product or service being rendered is better than what you can get in other real estate companies. You're on a better split. You're getting given shares in the company. You're your own boss. You run on this incredible technology platform. We have a lot of agents joining eXp just for that. They're not interested in the revenue sharing side. They don't want to attract other agents. Then you know you're on a winning formula. If people are willing to join your business for the product itself. Okay, Johan, that was a long ramble on pyramid schemes, but I think it's an important question that you've raised. I hope that's my view. That's how I explain my view of it. Guys, I want to wrap up because we've got 10 minutes left. Great, thanks, Johan. Wow, okay, this is a long speech. I'm going to give you the short version. The way eXp's system works, their technology is you can sponsor anyone in the world. And it is as easy as sponsoring your next door neighbor. They just put your name on their contract in France or Canada or wherever they are in the world. They put your name, and forever after that, you are paid a percentage of their transactions in Canada and everyone in the group that they build. It takes every bit of strength in me not to go on a long ramble about the global real estate opportunity that is. You cannot start a real estate company in France. Let me just tell you right now, you're not going to do that. You're not going to learn French, travel to France, get a license, become educated and get whatever educational requirements are. You're not going to get a working visa to be able to start a real estate company there. You're not going to rent offices, hire an office manager, start recruiting agents in French. You're not going to start a real estate company in France. Okay, here's the mind-blowing thing. I have a real estate company in France. How's that possible? I sponsored a guy in France. I sent him an email. He liked the idea. He watched the video. He filled in the French Join app. He put my name as his sponsor. I virtually have not spoken to him since then. Every time he does a deal, I get revenue share in euros. And if he goes, he hasn't yet, but if he goes on to build a team of say 20, 30, 100 agents, which could quite easily happen, I will earn euro-based income on 100 agents in Europe. And this can go all over the world. I did a calculation on my revenue share that I get from Frank in France. My average deal here, I get about 2,000 Rand. That's average. Obviously, it's higher and lower depending on the deal. On average, about 2,500 Rand. He did a deal recently. I got 12,500 Rand on his deal. Why? Because the exchange rate from euros to South African rands is just so favorable. Guys, if that doesn't blow your mind, nothing will. Does your current company give you the opportunity to build up an offshore income by introducing other agents? And it's not only people you introduce, it's people you know that you know. So let me tell you another story. I told you I wasn't going to ramble, but I sponsored Ferdie Abrahams. Ferdie sponsored Andre and Lydia Foster. Andre and Lydia know a guy called Kobus in Dubai. He's an ex-agent from the northern suburbs. He is champing at the bit. He cannot wait to join when eXp Dubai launches, which is imminent now. They're just getting their licensing. So in the next few months, eXp Dubai is going to launch. Kobus is going to start, and he wants to recruit. That's going to be his big thing, team building in Dubai. I didn't know anybody in Dubai. I knew Ferdie. Ferdie knew Andre. Andre knew Kobus. Kobus is building a team. I'm going to start earning dirhams, and all of the people that live in Dubai, they all go back to their native lands because it's all expats living in Dubai. We're going to start having global income from agents working all over the world. And I didn't know any of them. This is the power of eXp's model. 5-year exit plan. Okay, I just want to illustrate for you. It's never going to work this way where you introduce 10 and they introduce 10. It's never going to work that way. I just want to illustrate for you the power of the model. Okay, I make more than this. I can tell you that now. So 10 people. Let's say you enroll 10 people over the next 5 years. So, okay, I'm going to use this revenue share model to retire in 5 years' time. Could you introduce 2 people a year for the next 5 years? I introduced about 60 in my first year. I was taking it pretty seriously, though. You say, I'm not going to take it that seriously. I'm just going to show people as I go along. 2 a year for the next 5 years. If you did that and they each did the same, 2 a year for 5 years, that's never going to work that way. Some will do more, some will do less, of course. Just on average, 2 a year, 5 years, you'd end up with a little group of 110 people over 5 years. Okay, Ferdie's got that already in what, 18, less, 16 months. Ferdie's got that. Keep digressing. How much would you earn? Would you earn up to 2.6 million rand a year as a passive income? This gets paid into your account on a monthly basis because of deals being done all across South Africa or all across the world. How would you like to earn 2.6 million rand a year in 5 years' time because you introduced 10 people to eXp? Okay, that's the best I can do to show you this opportunity. Is it working? We're the fastest growing real estate company in history. Nothing can touch what eXp have achieved. What are your next steps? Number 1, schedule a follow-up call. You can use that link to book a 3-way call. Get back together with the person who invited you here. Before you do that, do your homework. Okay, that's that page I showed you. Go and scroll down that page. Go and watch a bunch of those videos. You don't want to only listen to my voice. Go and listen to a bunch of voices. Secondly, go onto this link. If one of the team members can please put this link, the join link, in the chat roll. Go and click this link. You're not joining eXp when you do this, okay? Don't worry. It's just a tech thing where you trigger an email. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to go to that page. When you click that link, see that button that says Explore eXp. Click that button. That'll take you to this page. It's like a terms and conditions page. You'll say, I agree to the terms and conditions. Then fill in this form. You're not joining eXp. All this does actually is it triggers 2 emails from eXp's system, the second of which has the link to the contract. You don't want to sign the contract if you haven't read it. Work through the contract. Maybe before you meet with me in the next couple of days, you want to have read through the contract. So you've got questions. What does clause 8.3 mean? What does that thing about insurance mean? What did I do? You know, it's fine. Read through the contract. And the last thing I would ask you to do is a Save Me beta test. The best way to introduce this to your best friends in real estate, because if you're anything like me, you've been sitting there today thinking, man, I'd like to show this to, I've got a few people in mind I'd love to show this to. Here's the best way to do it. Phone them up today and say, I've just seen something that I think is going to change my career in real estate. But I don't want to make a mistake. I need you to save me if you think I'm making a mistake. If I can get you a link to a private meeting next week, Friday, will you please attend it with me and just give me your opinion? Say, well, what's it about? You say, I'm not even going to try to explain it. Don't try to explain it because it's going to sound like a Tupperware party and they're going to get the wrong idea. Just refuse to explain it. Just say, I'm not even going to try. I'm going to ask you to trust me for now. I'm going to send you the link to next week, Friday. Just attend with me, and then I want your opinion. I want you to save me if you think I'm doing something stupid. Okay, it's the best way to do it because it's very low key. You're asking for their advice. You're rubbing their ego a little bit. Here's what's going to happen. If you do that with 10 people, and they come next week, at least 3 of them are going to join with you. That's what will happen. And you'll immediately have a growing group. All right. I think that's me. I'm done. We are just at 11:30. Good timing. So God bless you guys. Please join us. It's the most incredible journey. You're going to love eXp if you do. I look forward to meeting you personally. If you do book an appointment with me, get back together with the person who invited you here.